Hey, this is Bruce Cook again. Just got done doing the 15 balls per second Lux video. I wanted to make another one. Just another Spyder that I fixed for a customer. The customer had said that they had rebuilt this and it still wasn't working. It wouldn't cycle, wouldn't fire or anything. So I took it home and I did find a variety of problems in this thing. Firstly, the most major problem would have been the valve. For anybody that's ever checked or repaired Spyders for people who said that they have taken them apart before, you often find that they accidentally put the valve in backwards. So that's the first thing I noticed when I took this apart. The end of the valve that's supposed to be facing backwards, where the little poppet sticks out that your hammer ends up hitting against to open the valve, that was facing forward, and the hole that the poppet goes through is much smaller than the hole that is supposed to be on the front of the valve, that where the air flows through. So obviously the marker is not going to work if it doesn't have enough room for the air to flow through it and cycle and fire it properly. So the other one, I don't know if this would have been a major issue, but he had two urethane O-rings on that valve, and I know when these things come from the manufacturer, you typically would find a Buna, one of those black rubber O-rings on the back end, on the valve facing the back of the marker, and a urethane on the front end. So I went ahead and corrected that. I happen to have extra O-rings, so urethane O-rings. So his urethane O-ring also was in nasty condition too. It wasn't a bad O-ring, but it looked like it had some leftover residue from probably old urethane O-rings that went bad. For those of you that are familiar with what happens when they sit these markers for a while, they get real soft, they can get gooey, sticky, and they leave real nasty residue that can be difficult to get out. So the front of his hammer also had a little tiny bit of that sticky residue left on it, along with some in the body where the hammer cycles. I got rid of all that. I replaced his hammer O-ring as well. He had what looked like an old urethane O-ring on there. It wasn't sticky or nothing, but I took it out and replaced it with a Buna O-ring. That I've never had any issues doing that. Also, another huge problem, which I didn't realize right away. I went to, after rebuilding everything again with my O-rings, I went to fire it and it did the same thing. It just made a little burp sound, didn't cycle, didn't fire properly, and I pulled it back apart and then remembered that there was no, there's supposed to be a black little rod thing that goes in the back of the spring. That's what your velocity adjustment screw pushes against, so you can increase the velocity. It tenses up the spring in there, so the hammer is hitting the poppet harder. That was missing. Luckily, I have tons of spare Spyder parts. I had one of those, put it in here, put all the guts back in, the ram cap back on, and it fired. I do gotta tell you though, this is actually a second take of me trying to make a video, because first time around, when I finally got to going to fire this thing, the paintballs weren't feeding in there, and something I missed, something I really never have to look for, and it was inside of this feed neck. There was like almost a quarter of an old sticky paintball shell gummed up in there, completely blocking off the breech, so the paintballs won't go in. So I had to stop the video, go inside, clean that out, and that was a pain in the butt because that paintball, the residue it left was pretty hard, and I had to use my fingernails to scrape it out. But I did come back out and fire one test shot just to make sure everything was gonna work this time. So, but anyways, I haven't chronoed this yet. The one paintball I fired before I started this video is honestly the only time I've ever put a paintball through this since I fixed it. So, we're gonna see what the velocity says. I don't have the camera on reverse mode this time. That way you can read the chronograph properly. So it's not backwards. We'll see where it's at. Using GI Sport field paint, it's like equivalent to level 1 or 2. So we're gonna 227. We're gonna get it up to 280 because I'm assuming this guy's probably playing outside. So we're gonna increase the spring tension on here. We'll see if we should be able to get it up there. I have all the It actually looks like the velocity adjustment screw is already bottomed out. That could be an old spring he has in there. I do have unused Spyder spring kits. I might throw one in here. 230 221, 223. Well, that's how this is gonna be for now. So we'll fire a few of these. Okay, we'll fire, hit that. All right, that's it for this. And for shits and giggles, I put the last of the paint that I had from that bag that I used. I used for that Lux video, the 15 balls per second video. I'm just gonna shoot the rest of it out with my Bob Long VIS. I had to check for a leak because I end up having to replace the inlet O-rings that seal on the bottom of this engine, because I finally got a leak from that. But I already preset this thing to shoot at, I think it's, I can't remember if I put on NXL or 3-shot. It is 3-shot, and I have it capped at 15 a second. This VIS should be capable of doing that. These VISs aren't known for the high rates of fire, but let's just see. 263, 244. Oh, I don't want to do that. 251, 247, 254, 242, 256. I have the velocity on this set for the indoor field, because you can't really, we don't want people shooting too much higher than 250. So, but there we go. I think that's closer to 15 than 17. Well, pretty accurate. Alright, we'll finish off shooting up in the trees. Pretty darn straight. Alright, that was pretty good. I think towards the end it was starting to peak at 17, but I hope you enjoyed, and catch you next time.